Hi everyone, I'm Rohit Tiku from Tata Motor Finance. I'm the Chief Strategy and the Risk Officer of Tata Motor Finance. And apart from risk and business strategy, I also take care of the data analytics, fraud management, and all digital and new initiatives for the organization. I'm around 20 years in this retail lending space, primarily handle business, collections, risks, and all the other aspects which are associated with the retail lending space.
Great. Thank you, Rohit. Dipu, if I can request you to.
Yeah. Thanks, Manoj. It's a pleasure to meet everybody out here. I drive digital transformation in my role as the head of operations and customer service at Bajaj Allianz General Insurance. Thank you.
Welcome, Dipu. Anand, your introduction, please.
Yeah. Hi. So I'm the Chief Marketing Officer at Fino Payments Bank. And prior to this, I've had an interesting stint as an entrepreneur for almost about 7.5 years, where I've run, and I still own it, a company of consumer behaviorists. So just hoping to add some value to the discussion basis, the understanding of behavior in that sense, and I guess how we've been using it in the bank.
Fantastic. Look forward to. Can we have Sonia's introduction?
Yeah, thank you so much, Manoj. It's a pleasure to be here and meet all my fellow panelists. My name is Sonia Notani, and I am the Chief Marketing Officer at IndiaFirst Life Insurance. I'm a founder member here, and in my current capacity, I handle marketing, products, customer experience, direct and digital sales.
Perfect. Very apt for our topic today. Thank you, Sonia. Paritosh, can we have your introduction?
Yeah, hi. Welcome, everybody, and thank you for making me available here. I'm Paritosh Gandhi, and I handle the professional services piece here at Avaya, India, where we assist the customers in transforming their journey through the multi-experience.
Multi-experience. Okay. Great, Paritosh. Saurabh, can we have your introduction?
Yep. Hi, everyone. Glad to be here and interacting with the great minds on the customer experience domain. My name is Saurabh Lakhanpal. I handle the customer experience portfolio for Avaya India for North and East region and handle the complete portfolio. Thanks.
Great, Saurabh. Thank you. Welcome. And Deepak, right? Deepak, please.
Thanks, Manoj. Welcome, everyone. My name is Deepak Agrawal. I work with Koovid Solutions, and here I lead the digital transformation journey, designing and architecting the solution, helping the customers to transform their customer experience with a digital life. Thank you.
That's great. Thank you, Deepak. So I think we have quite a good mix of business and technology people. So let's dive straight in. So, like I said, I want to begin with a small anecdote, a recent experience that I had. And then I want to see if you guys can comment on that or have similar experiences. So what happened recently, I was on Amazon about a week ago, and my wife wanted to try out a new dosa packet. So we went ahead and I went ahead and ordered it. And when the packet arrived, that instead of dosa, we got dokla. So I thought, okay, something different. I haven't had dokla in a while, but wife said, no, dosa means dosa. So back to the website to cancel the order. That's where the customer experience journey became interesting in terms of how complex and how it was simple also at the same time. So first, Amazon gave me a chatbot interface, text chat. So I started putting in my problems there. Then a human agent came online. I explained the problem to her. She wanted proof of the faulty delivery. So she sent me a link, SMS link, on which activated my phone camera. So I took a photograph of those products and sent it to her. She saw it on her computer and verified that it was a faulty product and gave me cancel the order and asked me to place a fresh order, which I did. And a couple of days later, the actual dosa mix came. And of course, my wife was more frustrated than I was because she was looking forward to that dosa flour. And this whole experience on Amazon, which quickly covered the problem, resolved the problem, was made her also feel good. And then finally, of course, a couple of days later, I got to enjoy the delicious homemade dosa, which is where the customer experience journey truly ended. The beauty of this is that typically a non-standard transaction went through such a complicated route, but ended up delivering what was expected, what was desired. And I thought that was a good experience, because normally an unexpected, a non-typical transaction or a request takes a little while, it's a little complicated, some back and forth has to happen. More so perhaps with a financial product than with a FMCG product. But I wanted to check with you guys if, what is the limits that you're pushing to for customer experience for non-standard transactions. I'm pretty sure for standard transactions, you've got it all covered. But what has been your experience in pushing non-standard interactions, not transactions, whether it is within your organization or, like my story, outside your organization? I'd like a couple of people to comment and then we can go ahead. Someone has really a noteworthy story to share. Anyone?
Manoj, if you want, I can take that.
Yes, Dipu.
Yeah. See, one thing which we need to understand, just conceptually first, Manoj, is SOP works in 99% of cases. So when customers call you, it is when SOP has failed. It's typically when, you need to get into exception by default. So that's where, this kicks in. So I can share, one experience, from my earlier organization, which you asked me. I was in the credit card, business. So we should deliver cards, and there was a particular judge, to whom this card had to be delivered. So every day they would go, at 3:30 p.m. because that was a beat plan, and then every day, they wouldn't be able to deliver the card. Okay. Then one day we said, maybe that is a time, that he's not available, right? So why don't you just try changing the SOP? So the next day they changed the SOP and they went to his house in the morning. The card was delivered. So the point is, that when it comes to, exception management, you don't look at, following the SOP. Yes. One more example was there was again a customer, whom they tried to contact. They just could not find. Then somebody said, let's look him up on Facebook. They looked him up on Facebook. They found he was in Goa. So they sent him a message, you're enjoying your vacation. We're trying to deliver the card to you. When are you back? Said, I'm back, in 7 days. So then, the card was delivered. After that, tracking customers on social media became, the norm. So just 2 examples of, how exceptions were managed.
Good example of an exception, yes.
And I stuck to your time limit. We could have had 2 magazines this time.
2 minutes, yes. 2 minutes. Fantastic. You did it in 1.5 minutes.
I think I can see 2 elements in it. One is that the endeavor of the organization is to convert as many as non-standard experiences into a standard experiences. And that's where data analytics, that's where training, that's where close vigil on various kinds of deviations which are happening comes into the play. So there has to be a constant effort to convert all such non-standard thing into a standard thing so that SOPs can be done. The other thing is, I think it's the organizational ethos in terms of to what extent they feel they consider themselves as to being customer oriented, and to what extent they are willing to trust what the customer is saying without getting into the details. I'll give you my own personal example. I once wrote a check for insurance renewal for an insurance company, and it was the last date of renewal, and I just written the check. The person came and took the check. And then I get a call a couple of days back. A couple of days later, I get a call from my bank stating that have you issued a check for this insurance company? I think it was some 20,000 K or something of that sort.
Okay.
I said I did. He said that you have forgotten to sign. So I was a little worried. I said I have not signed the check. That the insurance is expired. What to do? Today is the last day. So I said, a little worried, that okay, you send me back the check, I'll issue a fresh check or something of that sort. He said, don't worry, do you want us to clear this check?
Oh.
Mega, please do. Can you do that? Okay, yes, we can do that if you say so. So please go ahead and do the check. So they cleared my check without my signature on it. Now you can say that they have not adhered to the standard procedure, they are not adhered to compliance. But the kind of customer delight they gave me at that moment of truth was exceptional. Because they knew that at this point of time, they've called the customer has said pass the check, so they should pass the check. What can go wrong? Tomorrow I can create a dispute. The dispute is worth only 20,000 K. It's not worth the customer delight that you have created in the minds of the customer.
Perfect.
So I think a lot of empowerment has to happen when you deal with the customers, and that comes from the organizational ethos. To what extent you want to pursue customer orientation?
I think Tiku, Rohit, and Dipu, both your examples are about people taking the exceptional route figuring out the exception and taking that route. Anyone has something to share where the technology itself was used to do something exceptional?
I'll
The
come in.
system, how was the system designed to handle exceptional cases? Any
Yeah.
experiences?
So I guess in our case, pre-COVID, I'll say this last 1 year or so has been truly transformational. I think most organizations. I think the entire digital transformation happening in the industry got little fast forwarded because of the COVID, and I think most organizations worked doubly hard because that was the only way forward. In our case, for example, and we have quite a few bankers, the entire banking industry came to a grinding halt because they were not prepared for this kind of a scenario, this kind of a pandemic, because the industry was very much dependent on physical interaction with somebody, while it's be it collecting of documentation or anything on the credit side and submitting the same thing at the bank, while a card or a loan gets delivered. We're dealing with standard customer queries like where is my proposal, what happened to it, what stage it is at, when I'm getting my loan, my card, stuff like that. While during the COVID, we realized that we can't really send anyone to the customer premises. And the two large changes that happened during COVID was customer wants a completely contactless experience. He doesn't want to meet anyone for his health concerns, and at the same time wants a very, very seamless digital experience so that the delivery of the product happens seamlessly and without any friction. I think with these two reasons, we went ahead and worked with our partners, and we worked with the top banks in the country to deliver those products to the customer. We worked with them to create some end-to-end journeys, wherein now we have partnership with banks where you can get a card without anyone visiting your premises or anything like that. There's a video KYC. There are pre-approved offers where we understand your income, and therefore the bank agrees to issue a card or a personal loan to somebody. So the entire process got changed, wherein the queries that we used to get pre-COVID are no more existent anymore. So I think that's a very different view, wherein it's not exception management, but those queries went away, and probably we'll have something else to deal with now. But yes, I think we just
That's true. That has been the major transformation, where a completely whole range of so-called non-standard processes have now become standard under the new normal, as you have described. Great.
To 100% industry becoming like that. Maybe it'll take a couple of years, but yes, we're surely there at 20% now of the business happening with this mode.
May I request Deepak to throw some light on what kind of technologies or systems are enabling this kind of handling of complex cases, non-standard cases, unstructured cases? Because what the customers are throwing up today is not something that was predicted 2, 4, 5, 6 years ago. So I'm sure technology may not have been completely ready for this. But then how was it the whole thing handled? You would have experienced this in many of your clients.
Absolutely, Manoj. And that's where I relate to what Dhiraj and Dipu was saying, right? Uh, Today's world is not about a single point of contact where you can reach to the customer. Earlier, especially in the banking, traditionally was mostly on the physical contact. People has to come down to the bank to get their documents authorized, get their card issued, and all those things. So technology has been evolving a lot in terms of that. Two major things which is coming in, right? One thing is that using of the social channel or the non-traditional channel coming into the picture, like Dipu said, right? Customer was not available. They went into the Facebook and saw that customer is on vacation, right? You want to address the customer need wherever they are. You don't need to rely on your preferred channel. It should be customer's preferred channel. Okay. And then bringing all the experience, giving a uniformity into all the experience. That's where things are moving towards. It's not like you at one channel you want to give a different experience. You want to give a different experience to other channel. You want to give a uniformity, and then your representative should be empowered with all the channels together, right? It should not happen that they have to keep on toggling around for different things to do it. So technology is improving a lot. There's a lot of API integration or the service-oriented architecture coming in to enable these kind of things.
Okay, that's that I like that idea, that direct integration between social media and the systems in the bank or the financial organization. That would make a lot of difference.
So,
May I
Manoj,
ask
I
Saurabh?
add a few
Yes,
points to what Deepak actually said. It's an interesting space, right? I mean, here on one end, we are talking about exception management. We're talking about APIs. And on the other hand, we're also talking about hyper-personalization and segment of one.
Yes.
So, the objective is that any customer, irrespective of the channel he's actually onboarded on, should be given a multi or an opti or an omni, however you look at it, channel experience. I mean, after a customer comes in, it doesn't matter which channel he came in from. Having said which, can we actually customize and better his experience in his journey irrespective? Right? I think that's where our core challenge lies. So, just to give you a sense of the insurance industry, we are a very partnership driven industry. We are not, while we have a huge B2C angle coming in, and obviously the pandemic has been fantastic in the digital adoption, right? The pandemic has also led to digital adoption irrespective of location, region, geography, partner. So that is where our job has been to actually come and make it comfortable. So coming to an anecdotal point of view, right? Some examples on the front end, right? What we did is we launched something called Ghar Baithe Insurance, and we empowered distributors digitally. So it's not only what we did D2C or B2C, we actually empowered through webinars, we empowered through processes, we empowered through enablements that are at your tab or at your phone. So a distributor has the same version of truth the company is given. So the customer is confident because the customer knows the distributor. Customer is comfortable there, and the distributor doesn't need to feel insecure. So the enablement has to be beyond what we see. Now, once the customers come on, can we give him the same experience? So for example, we have grace periods, right, in insurance, or we have a maturity amount in a life insurance company that goes out. Markets fell. We had an auto trigger in our system when it fell beyond a point and there was somebody whose policy was expiring. We actually had an auto trigger that went out to them saying, listen, you can actually hold and continue your policy for 2 to 3 months if you want to wait for markets to stabilize. So you don't actually redeem at a point where the market is down. So these are things where you are hyper personalizing. You are actually building an exception in which was not originally there. And you are not you're doing it irrespective of the channel they came in from. And at the same time, at the front end, you're enabling that given channel to give the customer the best experience, because he's going to remember the experience of the company delivered through the channel, irrespective of the channel. So I think that it's the whole value chain which is very, very critical to make it extremely personalized as well as delightful.
Right. And the example of the intermediary that you've introduced, it really makes a sense, because for many people, it is the intermediary who is the real interface and not the company behind it. They may personally know that intermediary and trust him or her.
Yeah,
and
just
it could
this
be a relationship or a family member. Saurabh, can you give us like the technology picture to enable all this? What has been done in the past? What do you see happening in the near future?
Sure. If we talk about past first, if you look at earlier, as Deepak also mentioned, the main channel for the customers was, they would physically go into the banks and, or the other establishments and get the work done. Or they would, pick up the phone, dial up the toll-free number and, resolve their queries. But in today's scenario, if you look at, I think, one size does not fit all kind of, phenomenon works very well, because with today's customer, with the millennials, you need to have the personalization in place. You need to look at what is their channel of preference. For me, I still like to pick up the phone and call up the customer care if I have some query. But, my son, who is just 6 years old now, he is very well versed with the social media. He would go on, he would use my phone, go on Facebook, like some stuff, and or if there are any games, he would play that. So they're very tech savvy people. I'm just taking an example of 6-year-old. But when we talk about millennials, they are very well versed with the chatting, right? They love chatting. They would not pick up the phone. They would text you back, right? I'll take an example. One of my cousin who is in 11th class as of now, right? when he was in 10th, I went up to pick him from school one day, and I've been calling him, that I am at your school entrance. Come and we'll go. Right. I was trying for almost 10-15 minutes. He was not picking up. And then suddenly I get a message that I don't want to talk. I'll be out in 1 minute. So, I mean, they want to just have a text conversation instead of, calling. So we need to take care of that preference as well, right? So if they are well, conversant on the text channels, we need to provide them the option to do customer service on those channels. And from technology point of view, I think the technology is there, helping all the customers on the channel of their preference, and then going beyond that as well through the the virtual assistants that we have, or the bots that we say. So we have that now in place, and it's still evolving on the different language models and other things.
So how easy is this technology to deploy? And while deploying, what are the main considerations?
I think Paritosh would
Language.
be better and able to handle that.
Okay.
But yeah.
So I would definitely try it. So I think we all agree that post-COVID era, the adoption for digital has become more, right? We all know that, because there are certain verticals, maybe healthcare, hospitality, which have stopped using voice as a channel. They have totally become digital. People have moved into apps, people have moved into links, digital deflection, all those things. And when we do all those things, I think data is playing the key role here. Because the more and the more data is consolidated, I think, or uniformed, I think that's the power which we get to how do you leverage that data. And I think a simple example which I would say is all these technology is situational. I would say it is vertical to vertical. It will different. It will situation to situation. I think in your case, I will give you my example. Like I ordered something, and I didn't get the right food at my place, and I was real annoyed because it was the dinner time. My kid was cranky. And if I try and then start putting a message and I get these chatbots and all that stuff, it becomes more irritating, right? And some of the apps, like one of the food apps which I ordered was, I trade them as number one because of their customer service. What they did is, as soon as I said I didn't get an incorrect order, I immediately got a call back. Now that's where you have to handle the situation. That's where you have to, so there cannot be a static SOPs in today's world. Everything is dependent on AI. It has to be intelligent. It has to be proactive. You can't wait for a customer to put a complaint, write more details and all that, right? So that's the technology which has moved on. At what we do as at Avaya is we embed the AI along with these customer service channels so that we can provide these kind of, I would say, the right approach to our customers to reach out to their end clients. That's what we are doing.
Okay, that's great. So I think it's time we talk about AI in the customer journey. What has been the practical experience of using AI? Where has it worked effectively? Where it will still take some kind of work? What are the cases that it can handle? How much would you trust AI to do an end-to-end customer interaction? Many a times when I'm chatting with a chatbot online, it gives up pretty quickly. That's what been my experience. But what has been your experience and your customers' experiences when it comes to open-ended inquiries or requests?
Can I take it, Manoj?
Yes, Dipu.
Yeah. No, it's a good question that you've asked, because I think everybody says, that artificial intelligence cannot result in natural stupidity. So what we did, when we launched our bot, because the bot can only be taught from the past. So how do you ensure, like you rightly said, if it's open-ended, if it's an exceptional query, if it is hitherto unprecedented. So what the bot does, it's an AI-driven bot. If it cannot answer a query, it immediately transfers it to a human being. So the experience is seamless. The human being takes over and then he carries it through to completion. And all these exceptional scenarios, we build an inventory and we keep teaching the bot. So the bot's own first-time resolution percentage is picking up all the time. And because of this, it's seamless, right? Because bot and human work together to make it happen. And experience and the NPS studies show that if you're able to resolve it in one stroke, the NPS can be as high as 96. But you just break it into two steps, it can fall to 65. So that's one thing, which really has helped us. And the other is, integration with voice. Our bot is also, integrated with Alexa and Google Assistant. So you can voice your command. So we're not having to write a text and get your services fulfilled. So we have seen this combination of voice, bot, and human. It just works smoothly, and it covers 100% spectrum.
Anyone else had experience with using AI in customer experience?
Yeah, so we
Yes, Sonia.
we use it too, and I completely agree with Dipu. I think we're talking, he's talking purely from a servicing point of view, and the points raised by you also, Manoj, was on servicing. But AI can also be used at the start of search, when the customer is evaluating, when the customer is exploring, right? And today, apparently 80% of the customers actually go online and search, and 93% of all online decisions start at search, or any online journey start at search.
Right.
So that is the stage where we need to also be smart, and we need to be AI driven. Now, what happens is, as Dipu said, our experience is based on our past records, and technology is moving much faster than our past records, and enablements have gone beyond. So unless we actually leverage the entire ecosystem and gain intelligence from outside to enhance and improve our AI, we are not really going to give customer the best in class experience. So it is extremely iterative, it is daily learning based, and we do need to use interim plugins with human intervention. So these are three very critical things to actually enhance the customer experience while learning from AI. We can't go one or the other, which is what a lot of us do today. We say bot hai to bot rehne do, and what Deepu is saying is it works. And I'm taking it one step forward and saying it doesn't have to be my customer. It is my job to prompt a brand new customer, somebody who's searching, somebody who's looking, and we need to go beyond our own individual ecosystems to go that extra mile and help that customer chart his journey. So I think AI also goes into a space of prospecting, enabling, information, education, rather than just service.
So Paritosh wants to say something.
I would also like to say that it is also the efforts and the vision put by the business team and the operations teams along with this technology, which makes this as a success. Only technology cannot do anything. So the people have to support that technology. People have to make sure that you leverage that technology properly, and that is what makes it success. Taking a point from Sonia, I think the training part, when we started this piece on the AI part, and there is a myth that AI can do everything and it's a one-time thing and all that stuff, but it's just a myth. It is an evolving process. AI has to be trained. It has to be trained automatically. It has to be trained manually. All those things are there. But the future of AI, if you look at, we have been speaking about these bots and automations and self-service on the customer side, but the future of AI will be next towards the agent side. There are still 20 to 30% of the use cases, I would say, or the interactions where you need an agent assistance. I think we all will agree that except few of the use cases where the 100% automation is achieved, there is still 90% of the use cases where agent assistance is important. And that's why we say it has to be a hybrid workforce. The future of AI is to automate that agent assistance part, provide more bots, provide assistance to that agent so that they can resolve that problems of the end customer quickly by getting some information from these bots, by getting support suggested response, I would say in form of knowledge base or some widgets. A typical example, a quick example I'll give you is with Avaya's digital part, when the call lands, it starts from any chat and chatbot, and still you reach an agent. Okay, but there are many things which is not there on the bot, right? And then you need to again train the customer that okay, next time you come, this option is available in the bot. How do you do that? If the agent just answers, they will not get trained. They will never get to know this thing also. So what our agent assistance part does is it pushes them the same widgets which was there in the bot. Okay, and ask the customer to enter that information on that link. Okay, so that the customer understands that the next time they come, this option is available on the bot and they can reuse themselves. That's how you slowly, gradually make sure that the things are not going to an agent and your customers are getting trained along with that. So that's how the technology will move ahead.
I also want to bring in the issue of fraud, because a lot of fraud is happening on all the digital channels. And the attempts for fraud are even more. Are you guys looking at technology or AI or something to reduce the fraud on all these channels, all these interfaces that you have with the customers, especially when there is full automation. But anyone can give examples of, what kind of frauds they're able to curb using technology, using AI.
I think in lending space, we are faced with a lot of frauds at the time of the sourcing itself. A lot of customers apply for a loan with fraudulent documents or from some fake income documents or something. So just to give an example, every year our company faces almost around 1,100 crores of frauds, which people try to get into the system, and we are able to prevent, I think, around 97% of it.
Anand, you wanted to add something?
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, this is a real and present danger for everybody, right? And especially if I talk about the payments business, folks in interesting places like Jamtara and all really keep everyone on their toes, right? I mean, these guys are really up to some very interesting business models out there. So in this kind of an environment, what really happens is that, when there are mathematical models that, address a lot of all this, but what gets very, very critical, and, to the point that Rohit said, that, see, what these models will do is that they'll throw up a lot of false positives, right? So that feedback loop that, this was marked as a fraudulent case, there's some monkey business going on out there, but somebody investigates and says, no, this is fine, feed it back, starts becoming very critical. Increasingly, everyone's looking at AI, and I think I heard this word being said as, AI is a magic bullet, and I think it was good that, I think it was Paritosh who said this, that right, it's not going to solve every single problem. I think that part, that the feedback coming in, that what worked, what did not work, an absolute fanatical insistence on training data sets and constantly building it up and correcting them starts becoming a very, very critical thing. Otherwise, this thing will just explode in people's faces like there's no tomorrow. If you don't really invest time and energy in that. Otherwise, these things are good doodads to have, but it just blows up.
Is there a way to figure out that, yes, it's now been sufficiently trained?
No, it's a journey. It's a journey. You'll never know that it is sufficiently trained or not, because the dude in Jamtara will try something different, and Jamtara will shift to some guy in some other bizarre part of the country trying to do this. So it's a journey. You just have to stay one step ahead and be prepared that you will occasionally lose, right? So if you're not going to be prepared to occasionally lose and take a hit, it's not going to work.
See, fraud is one area where the fraudster is always one step ahead of you.
Always.
So he will cover the existing bases, but he'll keep on constantly creating new areas which you can't even think
Innovation is in their blood.
Absolutely, you've got to learn from them.
Yeah, I agree there. What we have done here at our securities business too, because for us the trust is a very important factor. So what we keep doing is we have created an analytical model which throws out a risk percentile for each client, and wherever we find that the higher risk percentile is there, we keep touching base with those clients and just figuring it out to have comfort that okay, everything is working fine, because these are the normally customer who trade once in a while, or have a huge positions, or we have created model based on the various parameters which could be misused, which could be the indicators. As Anand was talking about, we keep evaluating those parameters, keep changing your model on a what you will call regular basis, so that that it becomes relevant at that point of time. And it
I
has
like
been
that. You are looking not just at the transaction, but even at the individual's risk profile and proactively taking steps if required.
Correct.
So Manoj, in insurance, we have to look at the individual. We have a 15, 30, 50-year commitment with the individual. So we also have an application stage fraud prediction model where because in insurance, the fraud will hit you 25 years later or 7 years later or 10 years later. And we can't afford carrying that risk and compounding it. So one of the key things for us is to actually have a fraud prediction model at an inception stage, at an application stage.
To add it from the technology point of view, I completely echo Anand's point that it cannot be left to AI completely. It has to be a hybrid force, right? there has to be models, and the AI has to be completely trained on a regular basis, maybe on a daily basis or on a weekly basis, whatever suits the requirements. But then it has to be a hybrid model, cannot be left completely to the AI.
And in conclusion, I want you to give a very brief response to one question which was raised by India's Chief Economic Advisor, Dr. Krishnamurthy Subramaniam. He's our chief guest for the function. He says the financial sector in India compared to similar countries, the penetration is still very low, So my question to you, the closing remarks, if you can be, is how do you see customer experience giving us rapid scalable growth? It is one thing to satisfy each customer, but as an organization to serve the country and to serve maybe 100% of the citizens of the country, the residents of this country, how much scalability do you think you can get using an enhanced customer experience?
I'll go first.
Yes, Dhiraj.
Yeah, so I guess as banking is concerned, the potential to scale is huge. Because obviously we understand there's a very large population in this country which are still unbanked. So it's taking the banking to the unbanked, and we have many fintechs operating in this area right now. Improving the customer experience, like I mentioned, having end-to-end journeys wherein people can take the products online completely really will help us take us to those people who don't have banking.
See, basically now this entire digital way of working and living obviously, shortens the cycle of distribution from a long cycle to a very short cycle, because using an app, you can immediately reach out. What is very critical, I'll keep it very crisp because you said 2 minutes rule, is essentially apply multilingual. Because what happens is, most digital assets are in English, but the moment you get into vernacular languages, you amplify your reach.
Fantastic. Yes, I think language plays a very key role in extending financial services.
I would like to just add one thing, because if you look at my area of stock market, in terms of, if you look at actually the journey has started. It's exponential journey probably in last 12 months, which we have seen. The number of addition of new customers you look at from, especially from the lower tier 3, tier 4 cities, it has been huge. And especially with regard to opening the account completely online, it has just given impetus which is required.
That's great. That's good to hear that something is working. Anand.
So, see, when you talk about scale, and especially with the large part of the country outside of those 500 million who are on smartphones and stuff, there a phygital approach really starts working. By phygital, I mean assisted digital. So there is an intermediary somewhere who is equipped with everything that one can ever ask for in a digital sense.
I would like to summarize saying that, to expand to that customer experience, Manoj, which you mentioned as your starting point of the question, is that we have to become part of the customer's journey and not pull him to be part of ours.
Fantastic. I think that's a very pertinent perspective. Thanks, Sonia. Yes, Paritosh.
So I cannot agree more than what all these intelligent minds have said. I think there is totally sanity there. 2 minutes of my Maggie noodle time is what I would try to summarize is that multilingual is the key. Digital adoption will increase, because we are trying to, what the question you started is the digital adoption in India than the other regions, right? Technology has always been there. But with the support of the government these days, now opening up the bandwidth, opening of the channel and flexibility of the rules, I think the next thing which we'll see in the digital transformation journey is adoption of video, because we are still India where we are still looking for a human touch.
Let me conclude then with a one-liner to summarize everything that everyone has said. Let me say that digital is a new language, is what all of you have jointly together said. And that is the language that's going to take us forward in the next few years. So I appreciate all of you for a wonderful discussion. I'm really happy to see that this new transformation that we are talking of is actually scalable, is already showing its scalability and already showing an impact on the lives of individual customers. So thank you all. Thank you very much for a very lively and interesting discussion.